Demetriou is a professor at the University of Minnesota at Morris. He recently posted a critique of immigration on Facebook. He wrote that illegal immigrants, quote, are harmful to an economy about to automate, especially when it's a welfare state. Refugees are even worse, he said, because, quote, many adhere to a religious political cult with repulsive values. Angry students protested. One even called the comments, quote, an abuse of privilege. But the professor is not apologizing. He joins us tonight from Sweden, where he is on sabbatical. Professor, thanks a lot for joining us.
Hi, Tucker. Thanks for having me on.
So here's part of what you wrote about refugees. You said, and I'm quoting, no country has ever taken the current crop of refugees and made it work. No school with many refugees or illegals is a good school. None of their neighborhoods are safe. Not everyone has an extra $100 grand to avoid them. Pretty direct. What was the response to that?
Yeah, well, I wrote that during the heated moments after the president's first travel ban. Many of my academic friends were posting their own heated rants, and I thought I would provide some pushback. I felt that the narrative had somehow switched from wretched refuse yearning to be free to a more they're the best of us model. So I wanted to speak out a little bit and point out that, look, I mean, if we're taking refugees, this is an act of charity. This is something that we're probably taking a hit on. And we can't discount the hard work and often successful work we do as parents and educators of training up the next generation of Americans and act like somebody arriving on our shores who come from the worst circumstances in the world and who are taught views that are antithetical to our own is on average, prepared to be as good an American as our own children.
Right. And so what, I mean, considering you work at a university, I assume that others took you up in the spirit of open-minded academic debate on the issue, or tell me the response.
Yeah, no, I had about 2 or 3 days of very just vigorous but productive conversation on the issue on my Facebook post, on my Facebook page. I'm in Sweden, so I'm not talking to people personally. But, you know, almost all my friends are on the left. And I, you know, love them, and we have a great time. But somebody took a screenshot of the post and lifted in isolation from the everything that my friends know about me and the other views that I have, and which are quite nuanced about the issues, circulated it. And including some faculty members circulated it. And even taught lessons with the screenshot anonymized in their classes. And so it sort of created a bit of a controversy on campus.
I bet it did. So you're in Sweden now. Is your time there confirming or refuting what you wrote on Facebook?
Well, confirmation bias is a worry, but it is confirming. I think there were 5 murders this week in Stockholm.
You some figures from a remarkable essay by Christopher Caldwell in the magazine First Things. The essay concerns the depth of the drug epidemic now gripping this country. Our older viewers will remember during past drug waves what it was like. For instance, at its peak in the 1970s, heroin overdoses killed 1.5 people per 100,000 here in the U.S. When the crack cocaine epidemic peaked in the late 80s, it killed 2 people per 100,000. For some perspective, this epidemic, opioid painkillers and the accompanying heroin resurgence, is killing a staggering 10.3 people per 100,000. That's 5 times more than crack, and it's getting much worse. In 2015, 52,000 people were killed by drug ODs. Opioids were by far the biggest culprit. Things are so bad that life expectancy in America is actually falling, in part because of that. Even more appalling is that much of this is financed by the federal government. Thousands of opioid prescriptions are paid for by Medicaid, providing pills that can then be sold on the black market for big sums. The crisis is terrible. What is Washington doing about it? Not very much. What could they do? That'll be the focus of many future segments on this show, so stay tuned for those. As for tonight, that's about it. Tune in every night at 9 to the show that is the sworn enemy of lying, pomposity, smugness, and groupthink. DVR it if you can. And, of course, tune in to Sean Hannity.